This Valentine's Day, get a Heart Baker pizza from Papa Murphy's. You complete us. And we mean that literally. With Take and Bake, we prepare it, you make it yours. So make us yours today. Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.
What do you guys think happens leading up to the NBA trade deadline? I think this is one of those things where I don't think anybody has a real firm grasp on where Danny Ainge is trade-wise. And I think, Danny, one of the things that Danny Ainge does really well, better than most people does, is he uses smoke screens. And I think there is a lot of action around the Utah Jazz. I think the only team that's busier right now, frankly, is the Brooklyn Nets, who I still maintain will end up with Fred VanVleet. I think that is very close to happening. But if I look at Danny Ainge, Danny's got 3 of the most in-demand players in the league right now. Mike Conley, whose value is a little less now because Fred VanVleet's available. But Malik Beasley and Jordan Clarkson are in demand around the league. And my question is, who gets moved? Who do you think gets traded? Jake, who's here and who's gone when the trade deadline passes tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a difficult question to answer, mainly because of this Ryan Smith angle about how he has some affinity for Jordan Clarkson and has this, thought and really what I'm going to call a prayer and a hope that they can re-sign Jordan in the summer. And so who's going to be here and who's not going to be here? I'd be surprised if Malik Beasley was still here after the trade deadline. I'd be surprised if Jared Vanderbilt didn't get moved at the deadline. And frankly, I'd be a little surprised if Mike Conley also didn't get moved before the deadline. And really, with those 3 guys, they are good fits on a lot of teams. And that's why I think you have options there. And I think Danny wants to stockpile draft assets and, that's the route they want to go. But I don't think those 3 guys will be here. But again, I agree, nobody truly knows. But if I had to guess, I don't think they will be here. This Jordan Clarkson thing, though, it does bother me a little bit. I'm trying to. I've really been working hard on trying to empathize and trying to get on the same thought process as Ryan Smith, trying to understand, hey, what is it that you see in Jordan Clarkson truly and genuinely that makes you think it's okay to try to compete to re-sign him this offseason and quite literally take the risk of getting absolutely nothing in return for him leaving your team? What about that makes you think that that's okay? Has he told you that, yeah, I'll work with you guys on it? Or like privately, has Jordan Clarkson said that to them? Well, not that we've heard, right? No, we haven't heard that. Like, in fact, publicly, he said just the opposite in the Philippines. So to me, I don't understand it. And this trade deadline is super important. If they were already a good team and they just kind of need to add a piece here or there, okay, keep JC, fine, whatever. But this is one of your most valuable trade assets. Why would you not get something in return? And then if he wants to come back, great, sign him. That's what I'm really struggling with this. But those, Conley, Vanderbilt and Beasley, I would expect those guys to be gone.
My guess is that Conley and Beasley get moved. That's my guess. I think that happens. I think more likely Vanderbilt also gets moved than not likely. I agree with you. And in that, I don't think Ryan Smith wants to trade Jordan Clarkson. I've been told that specifically. I was told by a source yesterday that the belief around the league is that the Jazz are not going to trade Clarkson, which is why they have an exceptionally high price tag on him, very much like Alex Caruso in Chicago. Both of them require 2 first-round picks and a player, and nobody's paying that for role players. And I think when you look at Jordan Clarkson, this is part of the issue. This decision to start him this year, I think, made it more difficult to trade him. And I think the other thing that it does is it makes it more difficult to put him back in the 6-man role on this team. And I think that's where, if he's going to be here, and again, I am not advocating for Jordan Clarkson to be here, I would trade him. And I think if he's going to be here, he's got to be your 6-man, because on a championship team, Jordan Clarkson's a 6-man. Period.
Yeah.
And a really good one, but you can't put the ball in his hands in the last 5 minutes of the game and think that you're going to get a positive outcome. I think that's one of the most difficult conversations they have about JC is you can't believe that when you give him the ball in the last 5 minutes, it's going to get in the hole. I think that if they wanted to trade him, they would have already. Mm-hmm. They have, Jazz sources have told me, they have a first-round offer on Jordan Clarkson, and they have not made that trade. Danny, and again, I was also told yesterday that Danny's got a deal for all of these guys. Danny's got a deal for Jared Vanderbilt, and as I understand it, the Knicks would like Jared Vanderbilt. The Sixers would like Jared Vanderbilt. I think very much the Sixers would like to do a deal with Jordan Clarkson and Jared Vanderbilt. Malik Beasley is of interest to them. I still maintain that Malik Beasley and Kelly Olynyk, their best opportunity to get moved is to Miami. But I don't know that Miami has the assets to do that because Duncan Robinson's contract, I don't know that I'd say it's a non-starter. It's just not what's going to get a trade done.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go and get something else. And I also think this situation in Phoenix that we've been telling you about, Matt Ishbia has taken over control of the Suns, but he brought in Isaiah Thomas for a significant role in the front office or will be. Does that mean that Isaiah Thomas is in control? Is he the CEO or GM or in charge of personnel? That'd be shocking because I think James Jones has done a very nice job there. Why would you take James Jones out of control there? I think that's a mistake. I don't know what the Suns are. They are very much a wild card in this trade market. They have all of their future draft assets, all of their first round and second round picks. They have talent that is in desire, and they've got to move Jay Crowder. And again, I think we told you last week, Jay Crowder was all but sent to Milwaukee, and they were just waiting for Ishbia to take control of the team to make that happen. And now he's got control. Does that happen today or tomorrow? Yeah. I think there's a real good chance that does.
Well, and I think the conversation around their draft compensation and their willingness to move it also is really a big question mark. I mean, a lot of people thought, hey, well, they have, because the Suns control their draft capital and they have first round picks and they have things that are really valuable in the trade market, but they weren't willing to move them. And that was the hesitation around the John Collins deal with Atlanta and Phoenix for the 3-teamer that Danny was in.
Yeah.
And a lot of people felt like, oh, well, that's because, you've got good old Bobby Sarver, stopping these deals. And now it's the hope is, and I agree, this Isaiah Thomas thing is it's
a head scratcher,
yeah,
man.
It's negative as hell. But I think my hope is that because now Ishbia's got control, they're willing to work with some of that draft capital.
We'll see. I think it's a really interesting move. But again, specifically to the Jazz, I mean, I think you are looking at two deals is what it feels like to me. I think there's a real good chance that Mike Conley ends up with the Clippers because I think Brooklyn is so close to a mega deal with Toronto. If they wind up with Van Vliet and Siakam, I mean, that's a hell of a pickup for them.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think that they want OG Anunoby all by themselves. I don't. I think they need a point guard. They need a guy that they can give the ball to and control it. And I think when you look specifically at Brooklyn, one of the things that I think is so fascinating now is Cam Thomas's situation because Cam Thomas has had a nice 3-game run here. But is Cam Thomas having that run with Kevin Durant in the lineup? I think very clearly he's not. Is Cam Thomas dropping 40 if you make a deal that brings in Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam with Kevin Durant? Absolutely he's not. He goes back to being a role player. But one of the things that I think is so interesting is Kevin Durant really likes Cam Thomas. And I think he is going to want to have a bigger role. And from what I understand, and I believe Woj is the one that reported this first, they're not trading Kevin Durant right now.
No.
If Kevin Durant's going to get moved, it's going to be in the summer. It would be a shocking reversal if they traded him. I think more likely what Brooklyn's going to do is they are going to go and get Fred VanVleet. And I think they would like to add Pascal Siakam to that deal. Do they have the balls to make that trade? That's a big transformative deal. But if you put VanVleet and Kevin Durant on the same team with Siakam and Cam Thomas, and you wind up trading Watanabe and probably Joe Harris, man, I think that's a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. If you can get that deal done, you're going to have to balance salaries, obviously, based on where Brooklyn is. And Brooklyn doesn't have draft capital to provide. But if you are able to do that, I think that makes a hell of a lot of sense. They cleared cap space yesterday and a roster spot. This feels like they're going to make a big trade. And I also think the same exact thing is the case as well with the LA Clippers. I think the Clippers recognize, and this is why Mike Conley's so important, I think the Clippers recognize they're a point guard away from giving guys like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard the rest that they need because those two guys are out of gas at the end of games. They're not far away from being the best team in the Western Conference. Right now, you can tell that they are just muddling along, trying to keep Kawhi and Paul George healthy. And I think if you add a Mike Conley and a Jared Vanderbilt, or if you add a Mike Conley and you wind up moving pieces out on that, I think it makes a lot of sense to add Kelly Olynyk to that deal. I think it makes a lot of sense if you're the LA Clippers. One thing that doesn't make sense to me, I don't know what you would do with a Rudy Gay. A lot of people have talked about having Rudy Gay in that trade. That doesn't make a lot of sense for me. I think the trade that Rudy Gay makes a lot of sense is in fact the other side of the hallway. That's the Lakers deal. I think if the Russell Westbrook trade happens, and again, I think we've been pretty consistent on this, that Russell Westbrook is absolutely an option for the Utah Jazz. As a buyout candidate, you would make that trade, you would buy him out, and you would take his cap space happily into the summer. I think that trade makes a lot of sense because you also have a lot of pieces that fit in that. You would get 2 future first-round picks, but let's be honest, those picks are probably, even if they do wind up conveying where you think they will, and you wind up executing those picks, they're probably not going to be worth a whole lot. I think if you are the LA Lakers and you can add, a Mike Conley, a Jordan Clarkson, and you wind up adding somebody in the line of a Talen Horton-Tucker to make that trade work, there's no reason you're not going to send out Russell Westbrook, and whoever you want to put in that deal. I'm obviously going to ask for Austin Reeves. I doubt they're going to make that deal. But if I'm gonna make that trade and I'm going to give you Lonnie Walker and 2 first-round picks with Russ, it's going to be tough for Danny Ainge to say no to that.
Yeah.
It's going to be very difficult in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's always been this thing where Danny's got deals on the table, but those are just meh deals. Those are just yeah, sure, we could make that deal, but this is what we're trying to do. And the only question is if Ryan and Danny are willing to bring those prices down to get deals done that actually are of big benefit, or maybe transformative is the better word to use. Like deals that actually have some consequence.
Yep, I agree. This hour of the show, Grum, is brought to you by our good friends at BBQ Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. Make sure you check out any of their 5 Utah locations, Logan, Layton, Lehigh, St. George, and our good friends in Murray, right across from the mall on State Street. No, by the way, no matter where you listen to this show, the best barbecue equipment, supplies, seasoning, rubs, sauces, it's all online, and it's all available to you online at bbqpitstop.com. And again, you're buying excellence. You already know when you hear Barbecue Pit Stop, it's the best equipment in the business, right? You know that as well as we know that. And when you think Barbecue Pit Stop, and you're thinking about, hey, am I gonna wind up getting a Traeger? Am I gonna wind up getting a Yoder? I'm telling you, it's a Traeger Ironwood XL. Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. Make sure you find any of their Utah locations from, again, Logan, Layton, Lehigh, St. George, Murray on State Street, across from the mall. It is Barbecue Pit Stop. Talking Utah Jazz basketball on the NBA trade deadline. Let's see. Snipes Entertainment says if they want to get RJ, if they want to get better, RJ needs to be traded. Oh, you're talking about the Knicks. Yeah. Yes, you are. I'm sorry. The Knicks aren't going to do anything. Well, it's funny how the tides have turned on this. And we've talked about this quite a bit on the show. The Knicks absolutely should be the landing spot for OG Anunoby. The problem is, I think Tom Thibodeau has to go. He cannot. Tom Thibodeau, if you watch the Knicks as much as we do, you know that Tom Thibodeau that team should be significantly better than they are. You're just wasting Derrick Rose, who I think could be a valuable bench contributor for any contending team. But I agree with you, Snipes. I think RJ Barrett's a guy that is not a championship player. And then I'll go back to what we said over the summer that pissed off all the Knicks fans. But RJ Barrett is soft. He's a guy that one night can give you 40 and then another night can give you 6 because you can get in his head. And I think that he does not naturally fit, in my opinion, with where they are and where they're going. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the other enigmas on this team, obviously, Snipes, is still Julius Randle. I think when you look at Julius Randle and you look at how well he's played, and I'll die on the hill that he's been the best power forward at times in this league this season. He has absolutely been a stud. Now, obviously, he's gone through bad shooting stretches. Well, who hasn't? But you put him and Jalen Brunson together, and all of a sudden, Julius Randle is a much better player. My guy, Emmanuel Quickley, who I thought was the deal breaker in the Jazz Knicks trade, I wouldn't have made a Don trade without Emmanuel quickly.
Yeah.
I think that much of him. I think you have those three guys together, and I think you have a bunch of other guys. I still maintain that Quentin Grimes is not some end-of-the-world player. Cam Reddish should have been traded already, which is why I go back to the original question we talked about with the Knicks is, how willing is Leon Rose to do a deal right now to try and push this team into a home court advantage position in the East?
Yeah.
I don't know, because you can't tell me that Cleveland's going to stand pat. You can't tell me that. I mean, one of these teams in the East is going to get hosed.
Yep.
Because there is, in my mind, not enough sellers in the market to make 5, 10, 15 transformative deals.
Facts.
And the team that feels like they're going to get left on the outside looking in right now is the Sixers, because I don't see the Sixers. I don't hear a lot about the Sixers. I hear the Sixers want Malik Beasley, but I don't know what you have to offer in return on that. The Knicks have everything they could possibly ever want or need to make one of the biggest trades. Will they do that now? Or will they do that in the summer? Because I still maintain that facial recognition. You need to forget that happened. And the best way to do that is go make a trade and go be a home court advantage team in the Eastern Conference.
But isn't this what we talk about with the Knicks all the time? Every single year?
I agree.
They're going to wait till the summer. They're going to wait till the summer. That's my problem with what I hear out of Jazzland right now. I'm not hearing, hey, we're looking to make big deals. We're looking to transform this roster. I'm hearing more about new clothing lines and Travis Scott than I'm hearing about big.
But Jake, I think the Knicks have the opportunity to if you look at the standings, right now,
yeah,
and you understand the Knicks are a good team, and all of this to say, you're not firing Tom Thibodeau now or in the summer. I don't think. I think he's singularly the biggest problem.
Yeah.
But you look at where they are. The Knicks are in 7th, 9 back. To get home court advantage, you're only 4 games off the Cavs.
Yeah.
And you know Donnie's going to miss time down the stretch. That's inevitable. Donovan Mitchell always misses games late in the season. Why are you, as the New York Knicks, at least not trying to stay out of the play-in and get into the 4, 5, 6 conversation?
Donnie, please.
Because you're not that far away. If you add OG Anunoby, you're in the 4, 5, 6 conversation.
Yeah.
You are. You instantly get better defensively with OG Anunoby there. I think it's one of those things that you just wonder, how much is it Dolan and how much is it Leon?
They let you down.
And inevitably the Knicks do. The East is clearly not nearly as tight as the West.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at a Jazz team that is in 10th. They're 11 games out, which is to say they're 3 games off of home court advantage in the West. In the 10th spot, you're 3 games out.
Yeah. And
right?
that's what I'm saying. Like, for all this logic that we talk about with the Knicks, I believe we should be applying similar logic to the Jazz. Like, I understand that this year isn't the year for the Jazz that, you were ring chasing or trying to get to the NBA Finals. I get that. I understand, like, where you are and where you're going. But are you really telling me that if you were to make a couple of trades here and really bolster this roster at the deadline, and really take that through the second half of the year and into the summer, that you wouldn't have a really strong finish to the back end of the year? Like,
I can't believe it.
I just believe that you could be a Cinderella story. We hear so much. And I was thinking about this clothing line, because you guys know this Counterpoint clothing line came out for the Jazz. And you know that came out on the same day that Ryan and Mrs. Ryan were on the dais talking about the All-Star break and everything and whatever. And I can't help but wonder if this clothing line is yet another ploy to make more money for the organization, because I don't feel like it's not a bad clothing line, but it's not also unique or like must have. It's just another thing.
It's not even a good clothing line. Let's just be really honest about this. This is what you're talking about here, this Jazz Counterpoint clothing line, I agree with what you said yesterday. I think they're trying to be off-white.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And the fact that it's $60 for a sweatshirt that is not special or unique.
That better be a nice-ass sweatshirt.
Right? Like you're talking about $50 for T-shirts that are not special or unique. If somebody's walking down the street with that white T-shirt on there on screen left there with the yellow Jazz logo that says Counterpoint, what point am I countering?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't understand what we're talking about. And, they're talking about how, this is made with high-end cotton and finished with an oversized iconic Counterpoint logo. Like, what does this mean? Tell me again. You just said in the description here, and if you look at this description right here on this sweatshirt, the Counterpoint iconic logo. What does that mean? What do you mean? It's an iconic. Nobody knows what Counterpoint is, dude. And I again, we're all salesmen. I get it. If I tell you it's iconic, it's iconic. I'm not paying $60 for a sweatshirt that is not black and yellow and says Utah Jazz on it.
Yeah.
And I'm barely doing that.
Yeah.
But
my point in all of this was that all that's true, and I'm hearing more about Counterpoint and Travis Scott and the issues that come with Travis Scott than I am hearing about stuff getting done. And like, you know what I mean? And that's what I worry about. And I've been saying this. Like, the All-Star game is great. It infuses a ton of cash into downtown, obviously into the organization. Like, you renovated the building. Like, hey man, I get it. Do we have another caller on the show, on the program?
No, I'm pretty sure I know who that is. I'm not going to answer that. It's a blocked call.
Okay, cool. So anyway, point is there's a lot of distractions right now. And when I hear and I think about the Utah Jazz, and I hear and I think about the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks have been a franchise every year for the last however long that have always been, they're going to make a playoff push. They're going to be really good. And then they fall apart down the stretch. I'm not even hating on the Knicks. I'd love for them to be good, but that's who they are right now.
Yeah.
The Jazz are an organization with a new owner who's young and energetic and out in the world and doing things. And I love that about Ryan Smith. I really do. I really respect the guy's hustle. I love it. But what I'm concerned about, Ryan, is that you're distracted. I'm concerned that you are more focused on Counterpoint and renovating the building and making sure that Travis Scott is happy at Astro World in the parking lot. What was that?
I don't know. My phone is doing some weird stuff, dude. Anyway, yeah, I think that you know why he's not focused on winning? Because they don't have to be. There's no expectation that this team is going to win. There is no expectation this team's going to win. And there's no expectation that they will win now. And I think that, to me, is the most significant part of all of this.
Yeah.
Is that they don't have to win now, and the building is still full. They don't have to win now, and you're going to go buy Counterpoint merchandise. So I want to see what the Jazz do at the deadline. Every move counts at this phase of your reconstruction.
And by the way, I just want to say, if Friday, when we do the show, they've made trades and they've done things.
No, on tomorrow, when we're doing an emergency show in the middle of the day, because they've made huge trades, I'll be a very happy man for you.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what the Jazz should be doing.
Yeah.
That's what they should be doing.
I agree.
I don't know who this is calling me.
They've called you again?
Yeah, they're calling me again. I don't know who that is. I don't know.
Okay.
Block number is calling me multiple times. And there's only 2 people who call me from a block number, and I think you know who that is.
Yeah,
but
I understand.
We'll see. I don't know.
Okay.
Good
talk.
We feel better now.
Yes, good talk.
Telephone sources, yeah. You know what's funny? This dude on Twitter, and I don't know what I did to this guy, that he is so pissed off. But this guy, Corey, this guy tweets at me every day, and he says, eat shit, Monty, like every day.
Yeah.
I don't know this dude. So he put up a poll last night, and he says, does the Monty Show have sources? I'm going to vote no in that poll. Like, it's hysterical to me that you guys there are some people, and Corey is like one of the guys, and it's hysterical to me.
They listen every day.
You put so much energy into being angry and hate.
Yeah.
And I've never understood that.
Yeah.
I've never understood that.
They listen every day, bro.
It's funny to me because they just don't understand. Like, go do something else. And this is kind of the LeBron conversation we've had. Like, it's interesting to me that this is what you choose to do with your life.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it because you're spreading the gospel of Monty. Hey, knock yourself out, dude. I'm all for you putting up polls. I'll vote in them happily. I'm all for you telling me to eat shit. I'll retweet it happily. Like, you're making me, bro.
Talk
You're
about
not
me on the
breaking
radio.
me.
Talk crap to me
Please.
on Twitter. Get pissed. I said it costs
It's
money to read
hysterical.
your article when it doesn't. Like, all these people, that's just what it is. And the funny thing is, like, you know, we had, and we spoke on this already, I'm sure, but for the new people, like, we had a moment, you know, 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, or whenever that was, where we had someone say, like, you know, oh, well, you guys only have a certain amount of subscribers, and that means that it's physically impossible for you to have a certain amount of views. And we've had other people say, oh, well, you're on YouTube, you don't have ratings. And it's like, dude, you don't understand how this game works. And it's funny because I love that we're in that position. They don't understand that by talking about us and doing polls and hating on us, what happens to someone who's never heard of us before? And you're just hating on us. Well, they're going to go and check us out because they want to see. They want to see. Well, is this really what this is?
I cannot tell you how many people come to this show and they're like, "Oh, I used to hate you guys. You didn't have any sources," and then you guys, like, the things you said started happening. That is a daily occurrence on this show,
Quite literally.
But I don't. Aside from all that, why are we so enamored with hating? Why are we so enamored with negativity? And I don't mean like it could be the State of the Union last night with Joe Biden. It could be like Mrs. Monty and I are sitting there watching the State of the Union last night. And I said, I just want to turn this off. Like, I don't happen to be a fan of Joe Biden and the way that he speaks. It bothers me. And my wife is like, well, I want to watch it. And so we're sitting there watching it. And all these senators that are yelling heinous things at him. And it's just like, you put so much energy into hating on Joe Biden and LeBron James, and that you're not taking care of yourself. Like, you're putting so much energy. Anthony Davis put so much energy into not clapping that you expose who you are.
After the street closed Davis.
It's amazing how many people in this world spend vital minutes and hours being like angry and being negative. And it's why, if you follow me on Twitter, you know I don't reply to I don't read most of my notifications because I just choose not to have that negativity in my life. But the best thing is, I tweet something. Hey, like, I tweet links to our show every day. One of the top referral sources for our YouTube channel is Twitter. You know, like, it has a use, but I'm going to control how Twitter impacts me.
Yep.
I'm going to control why, and we talked about this on some shorts the last few days. Why don't I watch CNN or Fox News anymore? Because it's just negativity.
Facts.
That's all it is. It's just negativity. So I choose yesterday. I picked my car up from the Audi dealer. What did I do? Did I turn on sports talk radio here? I didn't. I plugged in my iPhone and I was bouncing to some music on the way home.
And what happened? You got to the store and you were in a good ass mood.
Because you learn quickly when you turn off the negativity and you listen to people who matter to you, who impact you, and you surround yourself with people that fill your space up with positivity, and they energize you, they inspire you. Like, my wife literally every day inspires me. You know, she's dealing with this broken arm, and just her work ethic and her spirit. She didn't let this arm break her, right? She didn't let this arm get her down. Has she had moments? Sure she has. But her spirit has been so strong and so high. It's inspiring to me. And, you know, talking to people, like a really good friend of mine just broke up with his longtime fiance. They had been together for like 7 years. And we were talking about how much they had struggled because he is really a career guy, and he works in sports television, and he's a big career guy. And it's like, hey, dude, he's like, the negativity was just so much. There was so much frustration that I just chose to get out of it. And that to me is so inspiring.
Yeah.
And I hear all these people, like another friend of mine, his dad passed away, and it had this profound impact on him. And we had this phone conversation, and just hearing him talk about how my life's not over. I need to pick up and I need to move on, but I'm going to live in this moment, and I'm going to, I'm going to let these feelings sink in, and I'm going to feel all of this pain and suffering. And it's like, damn, dude, that's what it's about. But on the regular, if you're going to surround yourself with people that are constantly angry, that are constantly snarky, that are always sarcastic, that never say, hey, how are you? How was your day? Hey, tell me about how work was. Hey, tell me about this. How's your mom? How's your cat? Like, if you're not having those positive conversations, I just don't know what you're doing. Because you're not living your life. It's one of the things that's so interesting. Like, one of the guys locally, Porter at ESPN 700, had gotten into an altercation with a national media member. And I'm not going to say the guy's name because I just think the guy is the scourge of the world. But Porter had sent this guy some negative DMs on Twitter.
Yeah.
And people got into Porter about that. And it was one of those things where I don't know Porter Larson at all. Like, I don't. We have a Twitter relationship. And I sent him a note, and I said, I stand with Porter Larson. I support Porter Larson. And he replied, and he said, I really appreciate that. Because it's so easy when you're laying there on the ground bleeding, the hyenas show up and just rip you apart. And we've all been there. We've all been in a position where we've said something or we've done something or we were rude to our wives and we wind up having this big fight, and you know how that feels.
Let's settle this right now.
But you're like sitting there self-deprecating, and I'm a POS, I'm a terrible husband, I'm not a good friend, and it's the worst feeling in the world. And what the last thing you need there is like, yeah, God, you're a terrible husband. You're a terrible boyfriend. What you need is, hey, you know what, man? Here's an opportunity for you to, hey, go and heal your relationship. Go tell your wife how you're honestly feeling. Go tell your husband how you're feeling. Go tell your mom how you're feeling. It's that whole thing where I'm a big believer in picking up your phone right here, right now, and telling your wife or telling your son or telling your best friend, hey, I miss you, dude. Hope you're doing well, man. Just sitting here thinking about you. How's your day going? How are things going? That's what life is about. And if you're the guy that's on Twitter, or if you're the guy that's on Snapface or Instagram, leaving all the negative comments, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like on our show.
Yeah.
If you're one of the haters on our show, there's a million other shows that you love. Go listen to them. What are you doing here? That's one of the things that's truly amazing about what we do.
Yeah.
Is we meet so many people every day. And the thing that really kills me is 100 people are positive. There's that one guy. And I always want to say to that one guy, what are you doing here then?
Yeah. And it's funny that there are people out there who just enjoy it. It's like they said in The Dark Knight, right? There are just people out there who want to watch the world burn. That happens every day on this channel where you have one commenter who's just negative. And that's fine. And that's why I've said, the negativity train stops when you let it stop. When you say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, he put a poll on Twitter that said, does the Monty Show have sources? Okay, great.
Cool.
Let him
Thank
do
you
that.
for doing that.
Good. Who cares? We know that we have really strong, typically double and triple sourced information that you guys don't get until it's double or triple checked. And the reason for that is because we don't have ESPN behind us. I don't have the Church of Latter-day Saints supporting my radio station. So I don't get the benefit of being wrong or being on the air talking about how I'm getting texts about how a Don deal is done to the Knicks and then it never happened and then I backtracked. Yeah. We don't get to do that. And so to me, that's the greatness of what we do, though, is that we can handle the negativity and the hate however we want because we work for us. And that's just the reality of the situation, bro.
Joe Rake says, dang, what happened to Jazz Talk? Didn't know this was a therapy show.
Jazz Talk's been going on for 2 hours, bro.
Yeah, and one of the things, if you're newer to this show, the last half hour of the show generally is non-sports. And today it was supposed to be AMC movie theaters, but right now it's all, being more positive in your life. Because this LeBron thing had me tripping about that last night. Mm-hmm. Just when he broke that record, watching Twitter erupt with he sucks and he's not Michael and he's not Wilt. And okay, he's LeBron. And he just broke Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I think is funny about YouTube, and it's something we go through, and the long times know this as well, We get guys on the show all the time, or accounts on the show, new viewers on the show who are like, hey, this is a jazz show, and you're talking about Joe Biden, or you're talking about negativity in life. And it's like, dude, we've been live for, what have we been live for? Almost 3 hours right now.
2 hours and 55 minutes.
So, yeah, I know the thumbnail is a jazz thumbnail, and I get that, and I appreciate that you're here listening. But I'm just telling you that this show is different than every other show you will find on YouTube. It's a live show every single day that typically has a jazz topic and really good jazz talk, and then really good general NBA, and in the NFL season, we'll talk football. But yeah, we reserve the right on our show to spend the last half hour talking about whatever the hell we want to talk about. It just is what it is.
My message for you today is shut out the negativity. I mean, it's not worth your time. We have so many good things going on in our lives. Think about that. Think about that you woke up today. Fuck, man. You're so lucky to just have woken up today and gotten out of bed, because how many people didn't? How many people didn't? And you know the one thing that I in this day and age I always think about, how many people died during the pandemic? None of us did.
Yeah, we survived. You survived the layoff of life.
How many people, exactly, how many people in tech are losing their jobs this week, next week, last month? You didn't. I didn't. We're here. We're living. We're surviving. Let's be happy about that. That's what I'm saying. Amber, what's up? Says this is the magic of the show. Came for jazz talk, stayed for the lessons. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
She said this is the magic of the show. Came for the jazz talk, stayed for the lessons. It's important. Honestly, I think it's just so critical that we are, as people, able to have round conversations. Sure, we could talk about jazz. Hey, man, you know what, Joe, or whoever that was about jazz? We'll post a highlight after the show of just jazz talk. You can go and watch that. Happy to do it for you, man. We do it every day. But I think these conversations, when we're talking about relationships, which I maintain make the world go round, you need to do that. When you're having a great day, this negativity thing, it's so funny. When we're having a really good day, how many people call their mom and are like, hey, Mom, I'm having a great day. How are you? But how many people, when they're having a really bad day at work, or they lost a big client, or they lost their job, they go into isolation. They come in, and what does that do? Instead of reaching out and knowing that, hey, well, you know what? Bob is always a really positive light for me, or Karen's always a really positive light for me. Let me reach out to Stephanie, who I know is going to have a joke or a positive word for me to make me feel better. We'll ostracize ourselves. We'll take everything internally, and we'll fall into this deeper darkness that can lead to things like depression. With the explosion of suicide in this country, it's times like the pandemic, unemployment. Hey, you know what? My money's a little tighter right now. That can weigh on you a little bit more. Go out. Don't go in. Go out when you're struggling. That's how you get out of it.
Aaron right now?
Because I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. The next phone call, the next email, the next text message you get could change your life. But if you're not here for that, screw that guy. You know what? I'm not. That's Steve. I don't want to talk to Steve. Screw him. We just wind up by ourselves, and this life is not meant to be lived alone.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. The Monty Ghost is back.
Welcome back.
Thanks for being a positive light at the end of the tunnel for me, Monty. See what he's the light at the...
Yeah, at the end of the tunnel. Hey, Monty Ghost, did you happen to see Aaron Rodgers in the cave, by the way? Is he okay? Can you go check on him for us?
Joe Rake says, no, it's all good. I'll just remember this inspirational segment next time I'm in Walmart. You're going to need it if you're in Walmart. RR says, Jazz Talk. I'm listening just to hear about the meatball marinara commercial.
Damn
exactly right.
Damn right.
Eric in Raleigh says, I'm listening in hopes we get Papa Murphy's Halloween commercials again.
Oh, we will.
Next year.
Yeah.
Lopes Van Gabe, Jazz Talk. I thought this was a Wendy's. Exactly right.
Yeah. Come on.
Exactly right. Lopes Van Gabe, can't wait to see you at spring training, dude. Macho Man Randy Savage, that black call could change your life. Well, I'll find out after the show.
You already know that.
Tanner says it's the Monty Ghost. Sam Lott says, just like you said the other day, you had a guy on here that is by himself, and that said your show created positivity for him.
Yeah.
Sam says, mad love and respect for you guys. Appreciate you, Sam.
Appreciate you, Sam.
Listen, I think that's one of the reasons we do this show every day. That conversation, I don't talk about that stuff. I learned a big lesson over the holiday when we did that give back to our listener, give back to our community.
Yeah.
A lot of people said, hey, please don't talk about me. Hey, I need help, but don't mention my name.
The shame of it is incredible. Like, the power of shame is amazing, dude.
And it just doesn't need to be that.
Yeah.
Everybody needs help occasionally.
Yeah.
But it's so common for people to say, like up to 3-4 times, and Jake and I have showed this to Jake like 3-4 times. We have had people tell us, hey, you know what? This kid in the Philippines told us, hey, I found your show for Jordan Clarkson talk, but you guys really picked me up. I was thinking, I lost my job. I live alone. Like, he was talking about how he had thought about suicide, and I do not say this lightly. He said, I didn't want to miss your show tomorrow. And it's where our little saying of today's not the day we're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Today's not the day I'm going to die. Today's not the day. It's not the day. And I said that to that guy. And that's one of the main reasons we do this show, because we're a community.
Yeah.
I tell you every day to join our group. Dude, if you're in the Instagram members only group, I'm telling you it's transformative.
Yeah, the membership thing isn't about the money for us. It's really not. I mean, we didn't need to do it. We just felt like, hey, there's an opportunity here, and people could have a lot of fun doing this.
Ken's going to the dentist. I have no positivity for you on the dentist.
Damn, just tune in tomorrow.
Good luck, dude. Tanner says, sorry, Ken, good luck. T. Lawrence Gragston. What's up, T?
Up?
Found your show on YouTube. I look forward to it. When my money gets up, I'll be a subscriber. Good morning from Cincinnati. What's up?
What's up, dude?
Appreciate you, T. Good to see you, my guy. K. Nurin says, positive mental health always brings someone up, not down, every day.
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer in smiling and saying hello to everybody you see. If you walk up to me and you don't say anything to me, I'm going to say, hey, how are you, man? Hey, good to see you. How are things? I don't know you. You don't know me. But maybe you pick your head up. It drives me crazy, especially for women. Like, you'll see so many women walking down the street with their head down. That's got to be a tough place to be. Pick your chin up.
Yeah.
Pick your chin up. Hey, how are you? How's it going? Treat everybody like gold. The Monty Ghost. Aaron Rodgers is here. A bit much ayahuasca, though. Doing what I can to help.
Appreciate you, man.
Right. Ken Williams also said, I love the part of the show. It's personal. I appreciate that. Jeremy Bolton says, have a good one, guys. My wife can't wait to meet Max Tooley. Party's going to be lit.
That's right.
It's going to be lit.
That's right.
It's going to be a lot of fun. That's it. Show's over.
Matt, one more. Wait, go back. Matt right there below. The Pac-12 thing right there, right below. We talked about that. Find it earlier in the show. There will be an upload after the show as well.
Yeah, we'll post a highlight of that as well.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to wonder why the F my wife is with me? Jeremy, I wonder that every day about my wife. I'm with you, dude. The Monty Show every day is presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. You never pay them up front. You don't pay The Advocates until they win your case. You didn't deserve to get hit by that distracted driver, but you do deserve an advocate at theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.